Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be creating a Christmas slimline card using products from the September 2022 Mama Elephant release. And I'm actually going to be mixing and matching tons of different products from the release, as well as some of my favorite products from at home, or from my stash, I guess I should say. They're all from home, for my background. So I did kind of lay everything out prior to starting, and then I'm taking a piece of smooth white cardstock that I am going to ink then with Candied Apple and Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide ink. This is inspired by a card I did maybe a year ago. I don't think it's been two, but I did this a similar color combination or the same color combination. I honestly can't remember. And I really loved how it looked for Christmas. What I was going for is when I laid out the dies and stamps that I wanted to use today from Mama Elephant, I realized I needed some sort of a background that was really going to reinforce the theme of the card, as well as show off the stamps and dies to their maximum potential. And that is where it came in, that I wanted to create a super special background that, while it does take a little bit of work and it's got several layers, and part of it does get covered up, it really does help make this entire card come to life. I'm going to keep going back and forth between these two colors, working them together so that I get somewhat of a seamless blend here that doesn't look too harsh. Once I've done that, I'm going to keep both of my inks out because I'm going to take a stencil. It's a slimline style stencil from Simon Says Stamp, and it's a wide slimline. It's not like the skinny slimline, which you'll see here in a minute because I'm going to be using another Simon Says Stamp slimline stencil. This is called I Like Small Dots. They're not really small, so I think that name is kind of misleading. But I'm going to do a tone-on-tone polka dot background. Now, this is not a super prominent polka dot. It just adds some texture to the background of the design. And I'm going to go tone-on-tone, so Candied Apple at the top, Rustic Wilderness down at the bottom, and then they kind of overlap there in the center. So pretty. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move these out of the way, and we're going to grab another slimline stencil from my stash. This is Delicate Snowflakes. And what I want to do is I want to create some sort of a texture background. I am going to take some Simon Says Stamp Snowfall grit paste, and this is available in a bigger container this year, which I love, and I am going to apply a thin layer of this all over the background. Now, it goes on kind of this white color, but it's going to dry clear and just give us this gritty, icy type of background. So once I have the grit paste in place, I'm going to remove my stencil, and I'm going to show you what it looks like, but keep in mind it will dry completely clear. It's not going to look like this. It'll kind of fade into the background, so we have all of these great layers. Now I'm instantly going to go wash everything with some warm soapy water. Using the Polaroid tag set from Mama Elephant, I have die cut 3 of kind of this, the smaller of the 2 Polaroids, then there's a Polaroid tag. I'm going to be taking one of the new mica stains from Holtz. This is called Fresh Balsam, and it is awesome. I've die cut my frames from smooth white cardstock, and I'm splattering them with just a little mica stain to grunge them up. If you have seen any of my other videos with mica stains, you know that I absolutely love them. I highly recommend picking them up because they're seasonal, meaning they're only available during the season. If you don't grab them now and they sell out, they won't be available again this season. Next, I am mixing and matching images from 3 different Mama Elephant stamp sets for my card today. So each Polaroid frame, and there's room for 3 of this size Polaroid frame on my slimline card. So each frame is going to feature a little mini scene. The first scene is going to be Santa with his toy bag and list. The second Polaroid frame is going to be a Christmas tree, an elf, and some presents. And the third frame is going to be Rudolph, another elf, and a candy cane. And I have stamped all of these on Neenah Smooth White cardstock with Hero Arts Intensified Black ink, and I'm coloring them in with Copic markers. Just adding a little pink to the cheeks then, and then I'm going to color everything in. Now, at first I thought I would go through and try to color everything that was red, and then I decided, you know, these images are small enough. I think I'm just going to go image by image. So you'll see me transition to that here in just a minute. I have listed the marker colors I'm using down below the video here on YouTube so that if at any time you're wondering exactly which color I'm using, you can find the information there. And we are just going to color away for a little bit. I decided to kind of match the background of my card with my marker choices. So there's going to be lots of reds and greens, and then there's going to be some earth tones for things like the reindeer, skin, let's see what else, the toy list, and then I will pull in a little bit of yellow for stars. So it's a pretty small Copic list, because I'm just going to repeat these in each. If you don't want to turn this into a slimline card, you could always take these Polaroid frames and you could create tags with them. So in the Polaroid set, there is, as I was mentioning there, a large and a small Polaroid frame, a Polaroid banner, and then there is a heart die. There is like the clip, which the clip is what I'm using for mine today. And then there's hole reinforcers. So you could turn these into tags, which I think they would make really cute gift tags. I love gift tags. And I'm thinking I'm going to try to come up with an idea, I hope this season, using these as gift tag, or using this die set to create gift tags for the holiday season. I love seeing these come to life. As always, one of my favorite things about Mama Elephant is the fact that these images are going to coordinate back to other images that you may already have in your stash. So the style of these is similar to things they've come out in past years. So if you have other Santas or elves or reindeers in your stash, you can totally mix and match. You wouldn't have to use several different stamp sets if you didn't want to. I was really looking to create kind of a continuous scene inside each individual Polaroid frame. So I didn't want to duplicate Santa. I didn't want to duplicate Rudolph. Elves, there's lots of elves. So I have two different elves here, and then there's the tree and the toy bag and all the little accessories. I tried to add like one accessory per frame. So with Santa, it's the toys. With the tree and the elf, it's the presents. And then in the last one, it's an individual candy cane, because the one elf is carrying candy canes. So I thought that that kind of reinforced that theme and feel. Look at your stamp sets, see what little images there are. Sometimes all your card needs is a small kind of accessory, I call them accessory image, that helps reinforce the theme and story of your design. So even though this isn't a traditional scene style card that you might see from me, it still kind of is a scene. It just is spread out amongst 3 different frames. I love tags used like this, frames used like this, where you group multiples on a card and help kind of create that added interest to the design, because it just is it's replicated, or it's, you know, the duplicate type of image. I hope that makes sense. It really is very pleasing to the eye for that kind of thing, and I love to do that sort of look. And I forgot to do the little bear, so I better color him in. I made sure and I didn't blend out the tree too much. I like the texture that the markers create. Same goes for Santa's beard. I tried not to blend it out too much. And then we're going to color in our reindeer. We only have a few little images left here. And the reindeer is super cute because there's always lots of reindeer images. So maybe you don't want to create a slimline style card like I did. Maybe you want to create an A2 size card. I did want to mention you could take the same style background that we created at the beginning and create that for an A2 size background. That you could use the same polka dot or circle stencil. You would probably want to grab a different snowflake stencil, but there's so many out there. And then use the larger Polaroid frame and pick one or several small images to fill that frame on the front of your card. Very easily, you could get a super similar look. For example, I think it would be really cute to use that largest Polaroid frame with the same background that I created earlier and take the Santa, Mrs. Claus, and Rudolph image from the Secret Santa stamp set and place it inside there. You could even have the tree back behind them, and then everything else could be the same, basically. It's just a more traditional style card for anyone who doesn't really like the slimline or doesn't create the slimline style design. The stamp sets I am using today for the images are Secret Santa, and from that is Santa in the Toy Bag. Oh Friendship Tree. From this one, it's Rudolph, the Candy Cane, and the Trio of Presents. And Busy Elves. And from here are the elves and the tree. We will also be using the brand new LAYLA letters. So I am using 5 brand new products from the release on one card, just to kind of show you how you can very easily mix and match. Even if you don't have any of these new stamp sets, but say you picked up the Polaroid dies, you could very easily recreate this with things that you already have at home. Maybe you already have an alphabet stamp set, or maybe you pick this one up. But I always like to kind of give you ideas for maybe using things that you have, as well as, you know, using the new things that we all love to get. If you picked up the Stamptember set, maybe you pick up the Polaroid frame set and you could frame up the little characters from that. That would be super cute. Once I have all of my images colored, I'm going to take the coordinating dies from each set. That did take me a minute because I had to cut them apart, and I cut that out of the video. I'm going to die cut everything, and then we're going to start putting it together. Our sentiment is actually the last thing we're doing today. We're going to assemble the frames, we're going to pop them on our card, and then we're going to add our sentiments to finish it off. So from that Polaroid frame, I actually die cut another frame from some slate gray cardstock. It's going to create a little bit of a shadow, and it just gives a little more structure to these frames. Then I'm going to glue the splattered frame to the gray frame, and then we're going to adhere the clip to the top. So I'm putting glue on both sides of that. I like to use a clamp, some tweezers that I use as a clamp to hold that in place. And then I've placed foam adhesive on the back of the frame and popped it on my card. For additional interest, I'm not lining the Polaroid frames up straight. I'm tipping them kind of at an angle. I'm not spacing them exactly evenly. I think it adds so much interest. Then inside each frame, I am popping up all of our stamped and colored images. I decided not to put anything in the back of each of these frames and instead be able to look through to the back of the card. Because the background is so interesting and fun, I decided I don't think we need anything in the background. It's not distracting, and I love being able to see that peak of color and sparkle from the snowflakes and polka dots. We're going to continue filling each one of our frames, just gluing the splatter frame to the gray frame, gluing the clip to the top. And these clips are so fun. This could be a tag, kind of a non-traditional tag if you don't, and then there's also hole reinforcers if you would rather use those. So I love that there's options. Almost like they're little Polaroid clipboards. I am going to add a few little embellishments once I have all of my characters in place, and that's going to be some white little clay snowflakes. I also think some maybe sequin confetti, other little embellishments, maybe jewels would be cute here. But the snowflakes kind of matched the theme that we're working with. In addition to the snowflakes we're going to add here in just a minute, I am taking a black jelly roll pen and adding detail to the elves' eyes as well as Rudolph's eyes. This is something I always like to do once my images are on my card. It adds so much to their faces. We're going to take the Stardust glitter pen and a white jelly roll pen and add sparkles and highlights to just a few areas on the card. We're not going to go overboard with the white highlights, but I do like a little bit of the white sparkle in real life, and I think you can even see it here on camera. It just adds the perfect touch. It's not over the top sparkle, no glitter or anything like that, and it's just a nice subtle shimmer, kind of like the mica stain splatter on our Polaroid frames. And then of course some white highlights. I especially love them on the candy canes. Little sparkle on the little jingle bell on the elves' hats. And we are ready to take our card base. This is a pre-cut and scored card base from Simon Says Stamp. I am going to use my bone folder, and then I'm going to take some nice strong adhesive and pop my panel in place right on my card. I trimmed it a little bit smaller so that I'd have a white border all the way around that ties into the white of the Polaroid frames, as well as the white outline on the stamped and colored images and white clay snowflakes that we're adding to our card right now. And I love these little snowflakes. I use them all of the time. I love little embellishments. Next, we're going to take our LAYLA letters, and I figured out how many of each I needed. And what's funny is there's only one repeating letter in the Merry and Bright, and that's the letter R, of course. So I will have to stamp that final grouping of letters 3 times. I'm going to save all of the extra letters so that if I create another card, I already have a bunch of letters, and hopefully I will already have some that I can use. I am stamping all of these on smooth white cardstock with the Candied Apple Distress Oxide ink, and I did have to stamp them several times to get the saturation I wanted, or the darkness I wanted for my letters. And then I'm going to run them through the die cutting machine with the coordinating dies. And it will die cut each in groupings just like this. So you will get a few extra letters, but the font and size and scale of these is perfect. Now, unfortunately, look in the upper right corner. When you have warped cutting plates, my die shifted even though I taped it in place. I was so ticked. So I'm going to have to restamp that. You can see me right there pause. I probably was thinking to myself, seriously? After I have my letters die cut, I laid them out, figured out where my middle was, and then I'm going to build out from there. So the middle is kind of the ampersand and the letter B, and then I'm going to build out. So a couple of the letters may hang off the edge a little bit, but I tried to put my Polaroid frames close enough that I wouldn't have to try to finagle any foam adhesive underneath these skinny little letters. And I think I was able to make it work. And we're just going to adhere all of them. I love a good alphabet set, especially with coordinating dies like this. It makes it super easy. You could spell out anything you wanted. These would be great for like home decor things, scrapbook pages, journals, planners, all kinds of great things. I love these. If you stamp these on sticker paper, I think you could even make stickers out of them, which would be awesome. And they die cut quite a few, like the insides of letters and things, so it doesn't leave a ton of white space, which I really love. Now, the final part of my greeting today is going to be warmest wishes from all of us from the Oh Friendship Tree. I stamped off camera this phrase on black cardstock using clear embossing ink, heat embossed with white embossing powder, and die cut it with a sentiment label die from Simon Says Stamp. We're going to glue it right underneath the rest of our sentiment. No foam adhesive required for this as well. And it finishes off the greeting for our card perfectly. It also fills the space really nicely. A long, skinny sentiment with the merry and bright like this just kind of fills the space and brings it all together. We're going to finish our card by adding a few additional snowflake images just to the outside of the design, and we're also going to bring our white jelly roll pen and we're going to add highlights to the letters to match the highlights that we added to our characters. It gives the letters a little bit of dimension without having to add like glossy accents to them or anything like that. Now, I do think glossy accents over these letters or crystal lacquer, whatever you prefer, would look super cool, but this is a really quick and easy way to achieve that with no drying time. And then, of course, to kind of make the whole card come together, I decided a few snowflakes outside the frames would be cute. And that is it, everyone. We're going to add these last few, and our card is all finished. I would love to know in the comments what your favorite products from the September anniversary release from Mama Elephant, what was your favorite product from that release? And if there's anything from the release that you particularly would like to see me use in a future video, let me know. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this Slimline Christmas card featuring products from the Mama Elephant September 2022 anniversary release. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring Mama Elephant products that you might be interested in. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my amazing Patreon members. If you would like to become a member of Patreon, please click the link in the description below. We would love to see you over there as part of our growing community. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.